Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Good afternoon, student friends. I am Professor Jyoti Prakash, Water Resources Engineering for your batch. So actually, even though it is Water Resources Engineering, the description of the course or the outline of the course is like this: Civil Engineering Department, IIT Bombay, right? And if you see the course content, we are going to see the basic principles of hydrology and water resources, hydrological cycle, abstractions, infiltration and runoff, watersheds, basin characteristics, stream flows, hydrograph analysis, direct runoff hydrographs and unit hydrographs, peak discharge, peak flows, frequency analysis, flood routing, reservoir planning, runoff river schemes, storage, dams and spillways, intake, water conductor, right, hydroelectric power classifications and so on. So if you see carefully this topic, it is arranged into two broad parts. One is the basic hydrology and hydrological processes. Right? The second part is water resources engineering. Because we have made this course such that you will get more insight, more in details, more basics, more fundamentals in the subject of hydrology and hydrological processes. And then introduction to water resources engineering. So what you will be studying in hydrology? You will be studying in the subject about hydrological cycle, precipitation, abstracts, right, which includes initial loss, evaporation, infiltration, evapotranspiration, then basin characteristics, runoff, hydrographs, floods, flood routings, etc. So this is what you are going to study in basic hydrology. This basic knowledge is required to apply it in the field of water resources engineering. The water resource engineering itself is a big course, but we try to accommodate this course since students are not taught about water resource engineering in any other course in the BTech level at this institute. Since students are not taught about water resource engineering in any other class, we have accommodated water resources engineering also into this class. The idea of this course is to make a student to understand the fundamentals of hydrology and hydrological processes and introduction to water resources engineering. Right? So what other topics, the teaching method, each student is expected to prepare the lectures in advance by reviewing previous lecture materials and reading in advance. I have given some of the very important references, and also in the bracket I have given which book is good for which topic, right? Like Applied Hydrology by Ventichev is good for hydrology. VP Singh Elementary Hydrology for hydrology book. Subramania book on engineering hydrology is a good book for engineering hydrology. Purps and James is a good for water resource engineering. R.H. Kuyanka, Irrigation Systems Design and Engineering Approach. It's a very good book for irrigation engineering. Santosh Kumar Garg, S.K. Garg, Irrigation Engineering and Hydraulic Structures. It's a very good book for irrigation and hydraulic structures. Lindsley and Fresney, Faber and et al. Water Resource Engineering book is good for water resource part. Mays and Tung, those who wants to study the advanced topics like modeling of water resource system. This book is very good, titled Hydro Systems Engineering and Management, especially for urban stormwater management. Don't stop reading only the referenced book. You can read research papers from journals like Water Resource Research, AIC Journal of Water Resource Management and Planning, AIC Journal of Hydrologic Engineering, Journal of Hydrology, Water Resource Management, etc. Okay, so this is about this course, and we will try to cover this in 40 hours. So now we will start the actual class, Introduction to Water Resources Engineering. Right? Why we need to study about this subject? Any question which comes to our mind when somebody says study this subject, why we need to study this subject? Let us see what this subject is. We are going to study about water. See, in previous two classes also you studied fluid mechanics and hydraulic engineering. In fluid mechanics, you study about the properties, the mechanics of fluid, or in general, we can say that it is the work of fluid. In hydraulic engineering, you will be studying work done by the water on the objects, right? Open channel hydraulics, hydraulic machines, pumps, turbines, etc. You will be studying on hydraulic engineering. But in hydrology, we are going to study about water, how it is occurring on the planet, how it is distributed over the earth spatially and temporally. That is what we are going to study in this topic. But why water? Water, because it is one of the most important matter for human life, right? Which has no definite shape and volume, but it is the only matter which is available in all three forms. Water is available in the form of solid state, in the ice, liquid state, as well as gaseous state. And for sustainability and living of this human being, water is required next to air. Right? Without air, we cannot live even few hours, but without water, we can live with few days. And also, water indicates the socio-economic status of a country. A poor and rich country, even if the country is very rich and the public is not accessible to potable water, we still call that as a poor country. So it is a status of the people in terms of developing and underdeveloped countries. When each and every soul of a country is approachable, approached with a is approachable, each and every soul of the country is having a potable water access, then we call that as a developed country. And in India, we give holiness to this water, either to purify ourselves or to get dirty by ourselves. We need water. And this is the cause for life and death. Too much of water and too less of water is the cause for life and death. If there is no water, there is no life. If too much of water, that's the cause for death, that we call it as flood. And too little of water, drought, no availability of water, that is also cause for death. And this is a cause for integrity and fight. If you have a glass of water and the next person is thirsty, you share the water with him, it makes you integrated. Right? It is integrity. You become friends. You have huge quantity of water, the next person is thirsty and you don't share even a single drop of water with him, it leads to fight. So water is now everything for all human beings, right? And as I said, this topic, hydrology and water resource engineering, involves three things. One is the people, that is the human being, the natural resources, that is the water. The third one is constructed facility. As I said, you cannot store a water without a dam, or you cannot store a water without a pond, and you cannot transmit water without any pipe network if you want continuously. So this hydrology and water resource engineering involve these three components. Population is nothing but two things or three things we can say. One is our human being, second one is the plant, third one is animal. These three living beings compete for the water, right? And that is what we say conflict. This demand by the population, either by the human being, by the plants or the animal, is ever increasing because increase in number of people. Second one is the need of resources is also ever increasing, but the water availability over a period of time is limited, right? We cannot go on exploiting the available resources. and almost all natural water available is used extensively, but mostly we waste huge quantity of water due to mismanagement. That is about natural resources. Second one is the constructed facilities. Constructed facility means a dam or a creation of reservoir, creation of a tank, pond, water supply network system, sewerage network system, stormwater drainage network system. They are all constructed facilities. These constructed facilities are not coping with the increased demand. There is a mismatch in the estimation of the projected population and projected demand. That is what we assume for next 30 to 60 years, what is the demand, and develop our infrastructure. But once the infrastructure is completed, then the population growth is more than the expected. That is why the constructed facilities are becoming excessively loaded. Excessive loaded means I assume that okay, we construct a what pipe network analysis and design it and implement it. We assume that this city with this pipe network you can serve for next 30 years. But once you come to know that the network, the city is provided with tapped water, the population migration takes place. So an example, with increase in population, human settlement expands, and where there is no water availability, and we say that we failed in supplying water to them. So the constructed facilities are not matching with the increasing demand. So in meeting the water related needs, these two engineers, the hydrologist and water resource engineer, has to work hands together. But I can say that a water resources engineer takes the full shape only when he has a basic knowledge on hydrology. A hydrology can become a water resource engineer once he study all the management of water resources and the principles of water supply. But a water resource engineer can never become a successful water resource engineer until he qualifies himself as a basic hydrologist. Why? Because the basic hydrologist assess the quantity of water available for human use from the nature. He studies the spatial and temporal variation in the water availability, and he also study various processes that affects the water availability. So that means there is a need to forecast the hydrological variable to find how much is available for human being. That is what the hydrologist does. But what does the water resource engineer does? He formulate and implement the resource management. Once the hydrologist says that okay, this much quantity of water is available at a location over the period of time, then the water resource engineer formulates and implements any water related infrastructure, a dam, a intake structure, a weir, a barrage, or a piped water supply network system, river bank protection, all these things, right? So then he plans, he design, construct, and operate the water resources facility. Okay, especially when the demand is more than the supply, or as well as both when the supply is more than the demand. Both the case we need a water resource engineer. So the water resource engineer develops, apply various types of hydrological models to meet the demand. It's nothing but balancing the supply and the demand. To balance, we need a model. We need an equation. We need a methodology to balance the supply and the demand over a period of time, right? So these are all some of the hydrology and water resources related facilities. As a human being, we try to construct in the world because out of all the three competitors, right? Human being, plants, and animals. The other two, plants, when the water, they are immovable living beings. They don't move from one place to another place in search of water. In fact, they bring the water in terms of rain. So when water is available, they will survive. If water is not available, they will perish. Human being, when water is available, they live there. When water is not available, they migrate from the place of non-availability of water to availability of water. But human being, they are all knowledge. We have more than the knowledge of plants and animals. We try to bend the nature. We try to bring the water from the available location to the non-available location. Thereby, we live in peace and harmony. So when we try to bring the water from far off place, then the problem of how to bring it, how to store it, how to transport, how to treat, all these problems arises. So we all have overcome all these problems over the period of time. So some of that hydrology and water resource related facility constructed by human being are river regulation structures like dams, weirs, barrages, river protection works, wells for pumping groundwater, storage and conveyance facilities like dams, canals, pipe networks, overhead tanks, underground reservoirs, etc. Then treatment plants for treating the drinking water to a potable standard. Then water distribution network, wastewater management. Once the water is supplied to a house, they use it and 80% of the water comes out from the house as a wastewater or a sewage. So this one has to be collected, transported, treated and then disposed safely so that it will not damage the environment. Right? So that's a separate topic, environmental engineering. Water is sewage treatment plants, the method of treating the domestic sewage and industrial sewage and so on. These are all works of hydrology and water resource related. Then once the water flowing in the river overflows the bank and damages the economic and life of the human being, then we call it as flood damage. Then water resource engineer's job is also how to reduce this flood, how to protect the public from the flood damage by warning, by proper estimation of flood quantiles, right? How much area will get submerged for an estimated flood quantile. Quantile means flood discharge. This is first. Second one is once the flood is going in the river, there is a huge quantity of erosion, and in some place it gets sedimentation. Right? This is also job of hydrologists and water resource engineers. Drought, when no water is available, how to mitigate the drought, right? And then the stormwater drainage system, most of the cities in the world are getting flooded up. In spite, they have a proper stormwater drainage facility constructed. Why? Then the hydrologists and water resource engineer need to sit together and then finalize what should be the rainfall intensity considered to design these stormwater drainages. Bridges, people think that design and construction of bridge is a structural engineering job. No. The first parameter comes from the hydrologist and water resource engineer. What should be the height of the bridge from the bed level of the river, right? So that the maximum flood water expected in the river will not touch the bottom deck of your bridge. Second one is when you provide piers in the bridges, piers for the bridges in the river, it obstructs the flow. Then what is the effect of that obstruction? There will be a slight increase in the water level in the upstream side called as afflux. And what is that afflux? That is also to be studied by water resource and hydrologists and water resource engineers, right? And then another important point in bridges is once you provide a pier, it's a permeable, right? It's in a sandy bed. Because of heavy flow, the sand around the pier gets drifted. That is called as cover. How much cover happens for a given discharge? And this cover is function of what flow parameters? Because once the sand materials are eroded from the pier loses its grip, loses its bearing capacity, so that pier fails. Pier means nothing but the pillar, right? So that is also studies of hydrologists and water resource engineers, but slightly related to the hydraulics part. And then hydroelectric power plants, design, construction, implementation, construction and management is also job of hydrologists and water resource engineers, because it is one of the most renewable green energy. These are all some of the jobs of water resources engineer. Right? This is an example of a dam. So a dam is a large storage structure across the river which helps to build the water level. This is the downstream side of the dam. The other side between the mountain and the structure is the upstream side of the reservoir. The water where it is stored is called as reservoir. Once the water level increases to the maximum level, still water is coming into the reservoir. The excess water is flown out to the downstream side through a structure called as surplus weir. So this is a sample of dam, and this is the weir. Weir is also a solid hydraulic structure across the river. But the difference between the dam and this weir is a dam height will be more than the height of the weir. Second one is the dam inundates large area in the upstream side with the water, because the water will get stored on even on the other side over the banks. But in the weir, there will be always a small quantity of water, but the water is well within the river banks. So the submergence level is very small. The third one is the surplus happens over the weir. Okay. Similarly, a barrage is also an hydraulic structure across the river to store and divert the water. This is also like a weir. Only thing here is the surplus water goes below the structure, and in weir it goes above the structure. The total storage is due to the gates. Once you close the gates, water starts stagnating on the upstream side. This is the barrage. And this is river meandering work. River meandering works is nothing but the water follows the lowest contour to reach the ocean. But while with the average flow and normal flow, it takes that lowest contour. But when there is a heavy rainfall, then there will not be any meandering like this. The river will try to flow and try to cut this area, right? So then what happens? Flooding happens, right? If it is in the constructed facility area, the buildings on both the side of the submergence, both the side of the banks will get submerged. This is also to be studied by water resource engineer to protect the river. I think these are all some of the Google map of rivers. Like for this is an example of river Tapi, which drains into Arabian Sea. You can see this meandering in the Surat city in India. This makes a 90-degree bend at 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So when there is a heavy flow due to heavy rainfall or discharge from upstream dams, this water will not go in this path, it will straighten up, it will try to join this shortest path. Since once it comes above the bank, it doesn't know, so it flows all over the area. So that is why the flood protection work in the bends is very important. Like this is a closer view of this. You can see this dot. So water will try to move from this dot to this dot if the discharge is very high in this river. Right? River protection work is also the job of a water resources engineer, so that water is retained well within the river course. Right? These are all some of the gabion walls which protects the banks. Water supply, either it is from groundwater or pumps or surface water supply, is also job of water resource engineer. Design of irrigation canal, supply of water for irrigation. It is not just irrigation engineers alone need this water. Water resource engineer also involves in the design, construction, laying, maintenance of this canal from dam to the field. Then wastewater treatment plants, right? Drinking water treatment plants, assessing the flood damage. How much is the flood damage? This is flood damage in the urban area, and this is the flood damage in command area, that is in paddy field. This is known immediately to the public because of mass and media. The damage in the paddy field will come to know us very later stage, after everything is completed, right? Then flood mitigation work, how to plan the flood mitigation work is also a water resource engineer's jobs. After flood, go to that point, evacuate first, then study how people have evacuated, discuss site visit, what are all the flood damages, structural damages and hydrological damages happen, then sit in that policy makers, decision makers, stakeholders, get the views and arrive a conclusion and then implement for mitigation works. Drought also similar way. Why drought has happened? Flood is a short duration phenomena, whereas and also design of storm waters, especially in urban area. The storm water should be sufficient to carry not only the runoff from the road and also from adjacent properties. And also design of stormwater drainages in airport. It's very important because flights cannot move when there is a stagnated water in the airport. So design of stormwater drainage is also a job of hydrologist and water resource engineers, right? Thus, hydrologists and water resources engineers serve the public or society by solving problems and addressing the needs related to developing and or maintaining the physical infrastructure, that is water related physical infrastructure, and protecting and or restoring the environment. So that's water resource engineer doesn't works for his need or a single person need, he works for the society. So when you work for the society, we should be more careful because the number of beneficiaries are large, and if something goes wrong, number of affected people is also large. So we need to plan carefully, execute properly, and maintain it accordingly. That is why this subject has to be studied with utmost care, right? Thus, hydrology and water resource engineer need to study this subject. Okay, if I want to claim that I am a good hydrologist, I should have a basic fundamental knowledge on all the hydrological processes. If I say I am a water resource engineer, 50% I should be an hydrologist, then the remaining is the entire how we are going to manage the available water resources. Okay, so these are all some of the subjects related to water resource engineering. Hydrology is nothing but occurrence, distribution, movement, and the properties of water on the earth. This study is about understanding of various hydrological processes, data collection and analysis, mathematical modeling, etc. Hydrology is nothing but hydrology. Hydro means water in Greek. Logy means scientific study of any subject. We call it as logic. So combinedly, it is hydrology. To have a hydrological knowledge, we should have a fundamental knowledge on hydraulics, open channel hydraulics, pipe flow, right? Turbines, kinematics, and everything we should have a basic knowledge in fluid mechanics and hydraulics. It's in hydraulics we study the mechanical behavior of water on physical systems, right? Practical applications. Then once I become an hydrologist, then I plan, design, execute, that is construct, and then operate and maintain a water resources infrastructure. And that is called as water resources systems engineering. But when I am doing this water resource systems engineering, for example, if I am planning to construct the dam, I should not develop only one plan. I should have alternative plans, alternative suggestions. Then I have to evaluate which plan suits better for the public based upon the subject of natural law, engineering principle, economic constraint, institutional capability, financial capability, social constraint, legal constraint, political constraint. All my infrastructure, water resources infrastructure should obey these laws. Then only it will become a successful water resources infrastructure. Once I complete that infrastructure, then I need to operate and maintain. For that, I need to do a hydro systems engineering. That is, um, you develop operational policies for a reservoir. You develop water resources policies for drinking water supply. Right? That is called water resource planning and management.